Hi, welcome to Hong Kong and our favorite beach area, and where the concept of Pet Central, I should say, evolved. It was an evolutionary process that started actually in Shanghai when Pauline and I were in Shanghai visiting some friends, and our hostess actually that evening at a delightful dinner at one of the many restaurants she owns excused herself so that she could take her poodle to go to California to have her pet examined by a vet who's going to check into a hotel and then fly back with her poodle when the vet said it was okay for her to do so. So my inquisitive nature questioned her why she was flying all the way to the US to see a vet. And her answer actually surprised me. She said, because there's no vets in China.
So I spent the next few days trekking around what was available for pet owners in Shanghai. I must have visited 12 or 13 or 14 vet clinics, alleged vet clinics. Some of them were simply rooms with an address. Some of them were human hospitals that treated animals in them. And I spoke to a variety of vets, but I didn't speak to anybody at all that I would have taken any of my animals to had I not been, a vet myself. We then discussed it. We discussed it with friends in Shanghai. We discussed it with people in the US. And I guess that was the seed planted there now.
And that's when Pauline and I started brainstorming the whole concept of setting up Pet Central and a one-stop shop pet care in China, and basically setting it up in Hong Kong and bringing the best of the West to Hong Kong and introducing it to China. Then as I drilled deeper on research, I found out that actually the primary source of revenue for pet care was not in veterinary medicine. It was actually in the pet care food, accessories, grooming, all these other areas. And most veterinary practices were not actually addressing or servicing that sector. Actually, clinics were competing with pet food and grooming providers. Pauline and I started brainstorming, how do we provide the passionate care that Pauline and a vet like her, but bringing all these other components under one roof? And that's how basically the one-stop shop concept evolved, is why not start with veterinary, then expand to retail, grooming, online, chatting, insurance, charity, because we also incorporated Pet Central Animal Welfare to provide education and care for the needy people who actually need desperate pet care but don't have the resources to take care of it. And that's how the company started. And that is the idea, to basically accommodate the locals but introduce the best of the West, which is why the Chinese Veterinary Associations, the Shanghai Small Animal Veterinary Association, have embraced Pet Central the way they have, because Pauline, being her modest self, when she was the executive director of the SPCA, actually spent a lot of time in China educating and working with the veterinary associations there, educating them on animal welfare, on the care of animals, which is with her background and mine, which is why the vets to this day in the associations there embrace her and the veterinary team that she's brought together and surrounded herself with.
I went out to find some other caring vets to work with me, and that's where Dr. David Coyle sat down at me with the table and we proceeded to the next level.
One of the advantages about being in the Pet Central group is we share a very close link between the clinics, and although we're in different geographical locations, it just feels like one big practice.
I'm the Director of Education in the broad sense, in that my job is to make sure that everybody gets the level of education that they need. That applies both to veterinary assistants who may need an introduction to what their job is about, or who may need instruction on how to do a new part of their job. I'm also here to help the younger vets to develop their skills and to become more competent and more confident in what they do.
So I think being part of this group, I keep improving myself as well. In the future, I think we're all obviously trying to go to more conferences, learn a little bit more from everyone. I think that's very important.
Yeah, currently in Hong Kong, we operate standalone veterinary hospitals and mobile vehicle that goes out to 3 other locations 5 days of the week. We have one joint venture veterinary practice with Dr. Mike Muir and his partner Mr. Wu Wai Hang, and we have 2 franchise operations in Hong Kong. So that's what we currently operate, and our next steps will be over to Pet Central Media and into the USA. We're engaged more and more in education, because I certainly had realised that's what was needed in China, in that part of the world, and it was interesting for Peter to say exactly the same thing for the US.
Yeah, the focus on education of veterinarians and also of pet owners and just of the world itself about animals is something that we really don't do a very good job of. So one of my focuses with the SCVMA is to provide high levels of continuing education. One of the projects that we're working on is taking some of the levels of education that we have here in the United States, taking advantage of the specialists that we have, and trying to make them available to other countries around the world who may not have that level of education or may not have that level of specialty that they can have access to. So we're hoping to export our education and our specialists from Southern California into the rest of the world.
As professionals, as veterinary surgeons, we were just not doing enough for our clients, for pet owners, even for non-pet owners in the world.
The internet has become so heavily utilized by pet owners is because the veterinarians haven't taken the lead. And so I think it's really important through professional associations and through organizations such as Pet Central to educate pet owners and make the veterinarian the go-to person when it comes to the health care of their pets. And we really need to take that lead and need to be really aggressive about it. And I think one of the other great projects that we're working on together is to provide educational resources in the lobbies of the veterinary hospitals by creating educational resources on televisions that pet owners can watch while they're waiting to engage with the veterinarian. We're all focusing on building that strength between the pet owner and the veterinarian in terms of relationship, and using education to do so. So one of the great projects, I think, is to put these televisions in veterinary hospitals and make sure that the content advocates for the pet owner, and allows the veterinarian to be the advocate for that relationship.
The idea of Pet Central Media is to become the virtual partner of veterinary practitioners in the U.S. Pet Central Media will become the online pharmacy for veterinarians that become affiliated with us, so that instead of their clients going to any of the other online pharmacies, they actually go to their vet, and whatever prescription they renew with their vet, that will go into their pet's record. The same holds true for foods and accessories. Instead of ordering online through any one of the box stores out there, they can actually order their food and accessories from Pet Central Media, and again, it will go into their pet's record. So when they go visit the vet for whatever reason, the vet can say, oh, I see you've fed your pet this or bought them this toy, and that allows the vets to again get a competitive, not only a competitive advantage, but actually better care for the client's pets. What we both agreed was we didn't just want to set up another veterinary hospital or another veterinary group. It had to be something unique, special, and one of a kind that would actually fulfill all the needs of pet parents, and making sure that most of the staff, if not all, be they veterinary, reception veterinary, all be passionate animal lovers, pet parents, and that is one of the criteria for employment at Pet Central. They have to have that passion. And that is why the tagline of Pet Central is care from the heart. If a person doesn't care truly from the heart, they have no place at Pet Central.
I think they're very special and unique. They are all very individual and they have very different personality, just like humans.
I love pets. I have 3 dogs and 1 cat, and I care about animals.
But I think the most important thing is you have to have a good heart. It's very important.
That is a prerequisite. And that is something that Pauline and the vets have made perfectly clear, that this is not just about money. Animal welfare, pet care comes first.